Yes, sir. It's your boy Mark Dog the Catch, and I'm here with another episode for Dope. There are people to educate. Where we go in on topics that the black community should look a little bit more deeper into. And I did a previous one. I said I was going to do multiple takes on this, but I did a previous take on what is the benefit to a man in marriage. So this is going to be part two. And today I have with me Beastie Be Thy Name Brad. You want to let them know who you are, my good sir?
What up? What up? Brad the Dad, Slim, Poke 'em and Choke 'em, Brad Sewell, motherfucking Facebook, lead proprietor of the Free Lunch Bunch, all that other good shit, man.
Yes, please follow the Free Lunch Bunch.
Yes, sir. I'll say this. I like the traction you got with your show. It's going pretty well. Shout out to Big Mike D and Vonnie. What's up, nigga? Y'all did a real good job that episode. I enjoyed it very much. So, I don't know. This is a real tough topic to talk about. Being that both of me and you aren't married. I mean, I have aspirations, of course, but this is a very good topic for anybody thinking about taking that plunge. And I use the right diction. Plunge is exactly what the fuck it's talking about.
He means what he means. He say what he says.
That's right.
So my views have changed a little bit. Me and my woman actually had a breakthrough on this. But yeah, so when I initially say is there's no benefit for a guy in marriage. That was my initial reaction. It doesn't take a dramatic turn, but there is a little turn to it. But I still say there's no far-fetched catch. Like a woman goes into it and she has a lot more to catch. Like she we have to understand that women leaves. Women are the one who files for divorce. Women are the one who grows tired of the relationship. Guy gets content, right?
That's
But
right.
when a woman leaves, she gets everything.
She does.
Let's not even factor in kids. She gets alimony. She gets half of everything you done built, right? And y'all go, oh, why is it what he built? Well, when I go into a relationship, and I'm speaking from being successful or whatever, when I go to it, I already have my foundation. I already have everything I need and want, right?
That's right.
So her is just an add-on. Now, granted, the average female you get nowadays, they also are the single black woman. So when they actually run into a successful man, the friction of who leads and who runs it happens, right? But if you can get you a woman who knows she's not supposed to, and she tends to try to dial it back. She also has to fight with herself with it though, but she tries to dial it back, right? So y'all try to make it work in that stance or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what tends to happen is she gets tired of fighting with herself, or she converts, either or, and we're gonna speak directly to the ones who doesn't convert. They end up filing for divorce. They are bored. They are they are they want the excitement. They miss the fun and they whole phase.
That's the same shit.
That's
the same shit.
With the excitement.
The excitement, bored.
But that's
no
what I'm
fun.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Though, is like they end up leaving, and they end up leaving because they get everything. You know, like so when I say they get half, I mean they get half of everything he's done made, right? You don't get half of what I like. Either you stay here or you get nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying in an abuse, like, no, I'm not. Hopefully you're not getting abused. So when you say things like this, people tend to throw at you crazy stuff that other people are going through. And it's like, well, I'm not that guy. I'm not doing what he's doing. You know, I'm not sleeping with the city. I'm not doing all those things. You know what I mean? So I always say a prenup. What we build together, we split down the middle. What I came with, I get, and you get no alimony, and that's my biggest thing. You get no. I'm not paying an adult child support.
Yeah.
Alimony. I'm not paying. I'm not doing that, bro. That's out of your rabbit mind. So you mean to tell me that me saying, "Hey, a prenup that just simply states what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Anything we have together, we sell and split," is that's fucked up. Like every woman has looked at me like I'm fucked up for that.
Well, you also have to understand who you having this conversation with. Marriage is an institution, and a lot of institutions are crooked, and somebody has to lose in order for the institution to make money. my thing with marriage has always been I don't. I'm not a person that really cares about tangible things. Like I would love to have $100 million, but I know I would be upset if somebody took that money from me because they felt they were entitled to it. And I think the biggest problem that we have in this country when it comes to marriage, of course, is the fact that the fantasy has overpowered anything that reality does. A lot of times these relationships don't work because it isn't what it was cracked up to be. You see shows like Bridezilla, you hear about these dream weddings with all these celebrities. You're not understanding that this is a production to sell a lifestyle to people that can not do it at that particular time. And if you talk to anybody that's married right now, despite the financial obligation, it takes some actual work to even remain in a relationship with somebody. And people aren't willing to put in that work. It goes a little bit further than you deciding to remain faithful. What if you're bad with money? You don't know how to manage money. You're not a teacher. You're not a nurturer. You're a motherfucker that feel the need to be combative with the person you lay up with. It's a lot of intricate things that happen as to why marriage is a bad idea for the man. Because when I marry somebody, I marry their problems. I marry your insecurities. I marry whatever flaw that comes with you. See, it would be nice to have it on the beach with the sunset up there and say I do in front of all these motherfuckers and buy this exorbitant, crazy, expensive ass dress and all these other things. That's just that moment.
Yeah.
After that, I have to find a way to fuse and build with you. And sometimes that's not what the motherfuckers in this marriage thing to begin with for. And so there's a person that gets the upper hand in the relationship most of the time.
There's always. And there's turning points and turn back points too.
Yeah. But as far as like that goes, the person generally that doesn't give a fuck is the one that always has the upper hand.
Yes.
And honestly, you see how much somebody fucks with you if you put the prenup in there. Because I don't think people keep it in consideration that us is bigger than you and I. You don't get married for you to come up. It's for us to come up.
Right.
Now, in the event that us doesn't work, if I sign the prenup, that means you take what you got and I got what I got. But I don't want to be in a relationship where I feel like I need to, like, there's principles that you're bound to as a man that you're supposed to protect and provide for your woman.
Right.
But I generally don't like spending my money because I have to. That's something that I want to do.
Yeah.
You take that from me, like I'm supposed to be at your service, like I'm the servant for you.
Yeah.
That's when the shit goes bad.
Exactly.
And when you take me down there in front of these white folks, because that's who's running the court, those folks that don't give a fuck about your relationship.
You bitch you.
Just them signing that check over because the lawyers get paid first. And then whatever the scrap is what you get. Some motherfuckers come in there with a game plan when it comes to this because I don't want to hit up and say, I want to hear motherfuckers over there riding with Dr. Dre's wife when that bitch had an agenda.
And the crazy part about that topic alone is she signed a prenup. Now she's trying to say it's not valid.
Well,
like come
she
on,
was doing.
man.
She was doing. Well, the
and
word was.
And we all know that his music beats and business with beats.
Yeah. Well,
was all just him. They might have other side businesses, but that avenue alone was him. But, she was a lawyer.
But you're done with me,
right?
You're done with me.
You get nothing.
Why
would
you
besides
want?
The
what
kids.
do you need my money for if you're done with me? And that's when it becomes messy. Like I don't like the fact that we shared something that was sacred, and now all the dirty shit is starting to become public knowledge. That's bullshit, man. Because in the event, like the divorce is gonna happen.
Right.
Only people that's gonna be around you at this point, if you get this money you asking for, Miss Young, all be motherfuckers gonna take shit from you. Because ain't nobody that of substance gonna deal with no dumb shit that you want like that. Because The only person you can get with bigger than Dr. Dre is Jesus.
you,
I'm not.
I don't know. Drake creeping up on
Listen. Because ain't nobody else gonna take you fronting on them.
Yeah.
You fronted on this man like you owe more than what you worth.
Yeah.
Listen, the Chronic, Aftermath Records, the Beats deal, all those side ventures, him buying the art center down there at USC, all these things he has his fingers in, says Andre Young, not Nicole Young. If you don't care for this man and it's a horrible time, he was abusive, all these other things, what is the purpose of getting his money? To maintain a lifestyle. But it's clear that you need therapy. Because I'm not going to be with a motherfucker to beat my ass.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. So, your price was the money, and you gave up your self-respect for this and another. Now, I'm not on this woman's ass about that. I'm trying to understand the logic behind you taking something from a motherfucker and you're happy to get away from it. Now, y'all have kids, but your kids are grown.
Yeah. So, and another thing with me, and then we'll swing back to the main topic. Another thing with me is if the judge approve all this shit, then to men, we should all look and frown upon it as in, well, what the fuck is a prenup? What the fuck? Why are we doing it if 10, 15 years down the line, she could just say, oh, well, I was young and dumb or whatever excuse she's using. Well, What is it? Why should I get married then? If later on down the line, the prenup is not going to stand and you're still going to take all my shit and put me in debt. And I understand that this is not going to affect Dr. Dre. Even if he give the bitch exactly what she wants, all the crazy money, he would still be well off and his kids would be well off. But I'm looking at it from a lower standpoint of if I start my own business and then we went separate ways and she took half of that, it would be devastating to me personally. Like, that would take a hard financial hit.
But I think that's the thing that we all have to contend with when we're talking about marriage. Like, you can wake up one day and the love you felt all them some odd years ago may be gone because you done took so much of somebody else's shit. Now, it's like, we all have things we have to keep, not necessarily bottled up, but things we have to look past if we want this relationship to work. Because if my life is fusing with your life, I get to see everything. And some things aren't just worth the arguments every damn day. Now, people love saying, well, I'm toxic and I'm this, that, and other. But the thing about toxic motherfuckers, and the only motherfuckers that get married that's toxic, is either you're a motherfucking terrible person, because terrible people always have a boyfriend or girlfriend. That shit never goes nowhere. Or you're a cute motherfucker.
Yeah.
Cute motherfuckers are going to get took out the game on the strength of them being cute. Now, the thing about being a cute, toxic motherfucker is you don't have aspirations to do nothing else but maintain the lifestyle as you know, because that's a type of currency that comes with that, because you can get whatever you want on the strength of that. But nobody ever does anything different outside of what they're comfortable of doing. You cannot grow. And if they are going to grow, it's going to grow at the misfortune of somebody else. Like, he got all this money. I'm sure if you got something that you put your life into, your blood into, your sweat and tears, all that equity you put your life into, and somebody takes it because they jump in a claim, essentially you're going to have a problem with that. And what I don't understand about people being grown is you really have to figure out is how the fuck you fit in this spectrum. Because taking your money is one thing, but you've wasted time with this person. If you've been with somebody 30-some odd years, you're pretty much damaged goods for the rest of your life, because I'm pretty sure y'all had good times despite this being a fucked up marriage or whatever the case like that. But like, now you gotta go out there and be single again.
Yeah.
Everything you've done the past 30 years is a blur. Now you gotta go out here and start anew, because don't nobody want to be by themselves. Like, that's just something you just stuck with. So you gotta do that, and then you have all this emotional damage, the psychological damage from this failed relationship, and you go out there trying to be single, because most of the time we don't heal from these bad relationships. We just go into the next one. I'm a nigga, I practice that.
Yeah.
And you look up, it's 4-5 years later on, like, man,
I'm still dealing with the shit from the one chick.
It ain't addressed it, because the best way to get over your stress of another bitch is on top of another one.
Yeah.
And yes, that's a horror that
fact.
everybody has lived. I can't speak for every nigga because this nigga's out here not getting pussy, but that happens.
If you out here in your 30s not getting pussy, bro, you got to be on.
I'm not gonna judge you.
I'm judging you.
You haven't made it to that part of the struggle right there.
At this point, you don't want pussy. At this point, I think you want men.
All right, I had nothing to do with that.
You 30 not getting pussy?
Hey man, this nigga.
Listen.
Man. It's other people's mission in life to get something else. Granted.
I mean, even if you got one pussy, like you got a girl, like you're not even getting that.
Hey man, listen.
I don't give a fuck what your other missions is, bro. You know how many missions I got, bro? I got 3 jobs alone, and then I also have to be a father, a husband, a provider.
Man, look,
like, come on, man.
You ain't the monolith, though. Everybody, we would love to be an example, but the thing about the world is, it's so vast. You got 7 billion people, so you got 7 different perspectives about how to live life. 7 billion different philosophies. And every so often, yours may match up with somebody else. Me personally, I don't think it's something wrong with you if you ain't out here pursuing said thing. Because man, I think of all the problems I've been through, all the shit I put myself into, in the pursuit of said pussy. A lot of motherfuckers don't come back from that. Like a lot of people don't come back from being their heart broke. Like marriage, failing.
See, marriage is different. I think marriage would be the one I wouldn't be able to come back from. Because if they take half of my shit, I would lose my mind. I got to kill this bitch.
Well, but see...
We are not promoting violence or murder, for the record.
He not promoting violence or murder. I'll say this, man. Because of course, everybody has a price. Certain things I'm just not willing to give up. Now, I'm not saying that it's worth the bullshit. But you don't know nobody's heart and this, that, and the other. And that's why when people get married, nobody ever really knows the person unless you want to sit there and be detective. Because we got to think about it like this too. Nobody ever does their research as they should when it comes to, I'm about to have life with this person. Because you can sit up here and be cool with the mama. You go to the family reunions and all that other shit like that. But you ain't pressed everybody about this motherfucker. Because a lot of people are loyal to the fact that we got to stay solid with a certain type of person. But you don't go into these situations completely informed about this decision you're about to make. So that's another thing. You around a whole bunch of phony motherfuckers that been smiling because she liked me today. But when it goes bad, you hear all types of crazy shit.
Right.
Well, my favorite, when her and somebody she cool with fall out, you get to hear all the little shit. Now you looking at her funny.
Now, yes, I was just about to say that. I look at them funny as hell when they do that, because then I start bringing up shit like, but that's your homegirl, like. And then when they get back cool, and I be like, but you said such and such. And then I think I'm holding them accountable in a sense, but I really in the moment. I really be in the moment confused. And then they be looking at me like, really?
But they knew what they were doing by divulging that information. Because I don't give a fuck how mad I am at you.
But it makes me think, so what do you say when you mad at me? And then I also go, so wait a minute, you do this for this person, but when I say this shit, it's completely different. Like, I really look at that and be like, so wait, you put that bitch before me, but I'm supposed to be your husband.
I told my brother.
But this bitch got more leisures that I can't even do.
She has more equity in your life than I do. And I'm the motherfucker that's out here cutting for you. Right. Now, I can't say it's a one-size-fits-all shit with that. But I have a legit problem if I don't have any priority in your life. Because a lot of people do that when they're in relationships. So if you're a career drop shot motherfucker when it comes to your relationships, you're not married. You're not ready for marriage, in my opinion, because if we're talking about compromise and sacrifice, well, that's a two-way street. I can't be the one making all the sacrifices and the compromises just for you to be who you've been thus far. So a lot of people are in relationships where the person they with refuses to level up because it's comfortable being the
The
motherfucker that
person
they've
that,
been thus far.
yes.
And look, if you were a person like that, you give people a test run. Now, the thing about testing that I don't like, because when women do it, they really try to unearth an evil out of you that you want to lay dormant. Like, I don't want you to test my limits with my anger because
Yeah, I don't get that.
I mean,
I
I
don't, I
guess,
don't get why they do
but
that.
it's a primal, passionate thing that motherfuckers like these like. It's dudes that
And then
go
they'll think it's funny. Like,
no
I
because
said, and
they
I'm
don't
like,
have
you don't realize I was really about to shoot you and kill you. I was really about to do some foul shit. And you was like, I was just playing type shit. And I'm
no.
like,
But see, that's the thing. Because it's two different ways that we live our life and they live theirs. That's funny to them. Like there's women that like to see their man fight, like to see their man upset. Like they get off on that. And there's women that like to see
well, the
niggas.
majority of them said, "Oh, that turns me on. Oh, I want to fuck right afterwards. Let me go start an argument so I can have good sex." Like,
Yeah,
why can't we just have good sex, bitch?
no. It has to be some emotional content there for it to happen because I need to start something for you to do something for us to have something. That is a formula that's been working since middle school.
That's
And if you don't figure it out, because at the end of the damn day, if something goes bad, they call the police on your ass.
right.
You don't want getting charged. So you have to sidestep that whole movement right there. It's hard to do that because we're charged with loving and caring a person that wants us to be the best man possible, and they can just be whatever they want to be. Because you have principles you live by as a father, as a quote unquote husband, as a brother, as a provider, as a protector. We don't call women to do any of those things because we should just be happy with having sex.
Yeah.
And that's some bullshit because women, I can't say all women, but
Majority.
it's a nice size bit of women that won't be with nobody that's a good man in that sense. He just needs to check all these boxes I have for what I want. So it used to be probably what 20, 30 years ago. Well, let's go back a little bit further than that one. A motherfucker that was, you know, not necessarily generous, but like a hard working, a real studious type guy, he would have been a catch.
Yeah.
But then when this money starts coming around from all these illegal enterprises and everything like that, that nigga's a catch. He's the motherfucker that I want to be with. And now the catches now are these beta motherfucking men that act like they mama.
You've been picking up on that wave too.
Yeah.
And there's a cycle with the alpha men that females do too, because there's alpha males that go to beta men, and I think there's beta men that level up to alpha men. Like I think naturally when I was 16 to let's say 20, I was a beta man, right? I then had to level up. I had to become a man. Once I become a man and I acknowledge my worth and everything with me, I become an alpha man.
You said from 16 to 20, right?
Yeah, when I was a
I
kid.
don't consider that anything because
You was a kid growing. I didn't know how to be an alpha
exactly.
male.
That's why. But see, that's something that we all have to go through because everybody's life.
But not everybody. Not everybody.
No.
For the simple fact is, there's people out there who has like their dad hands on in their life with shit. Like matter of fact, example, your brother. AJ, right?
Yeah.
He's always, since a child, since I known him when he was 11, was an alpha male. And wherever room he's in, even as a kid, he was an alpha male as a kid. Me as a kid, I was a beta man, is what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is this. Until you come into that realization of like a self-worth,
yes,
I don't hold it against you. Only way I hold it against you is you had the choice to turn left, but you reverted back to something that felt comfortable.
Right.
That's the shit that I always hold people on.
So there's this cycle with the alpha male when a woman meets man, right? She gets this alpha man that turns them on. That gets them highly moistured, right? And they get with them, and then they want to change them. Oh, I need you to be emotional for me. I need you to downsize the alpha. So he downsized the alpha over time, right? Stick with me. and then ends up becoming beta. Now that he is beta, that's not who the hell she wants. That's not. So what happens? She leaves him because she wants an alpha man. She wants a man to raise his voice, talk deeply, and that turns her on. She wants to pick a fight with you, and you get mad, yoke her up, and fuck her. But now that he's a beta male, when you pick a fight and argue, he what's the word I'm looking for? He caters to your needs, your wants, or whatever you're speaking on. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll rub your feet and make you food. When an alpha man, I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out of my face. Fuck you talking about? I don't rub your feet enough. Like, bitch, rub your own feet. Like, and I mean, that's not to say that alpha man never rubs her feet though.
But what I'm saying, well, I get you what you're saying, but it all comes down to self-worth. Listen, if you love yourself, you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're going to compromise who you are at the core. The thing about life is we all go through these stages where change is inevitable. But a lot of people run from change because change represents the unknown.
And yes, the unknown people are scared of change.
The unknown is scary. And you don't know what's on the other end. So hence people will sit up here and go through the same thing for however long they need to go through it for until something changes. But a lot of times when we're speaking about relationships, a lot of people are afraid of the obvious. Like, there's dudes I know that are talking about getting married and they won't ask the uncomfortable questions because their egos won't let them accept that you're not her best anything or you're not her first choice. You just want to live in this flying nimbus when the rest of the cloud is over. You just want to just breeze through all this like it's not a situation that you're going to have to deal with. Like, when you're a man, there's no such thing as I'm not trying to deal with the confrontation. Because confrontation comes to you because you could be doing what you're supposed to do and this drama just finds your way. Yes. And that's just a life thing. So it's heightened times 10,000 when you're in a relationship because you know the woman that you fell in love with, but you don't know everything there is to know. And because motherfuckers have people on the payroll guarding these trade secrets, you really at a disadvantage because we really have to break ourselves in order to be in a woman's life. Like, I have to qualify for her time. Like, my time ain't shit. And a lot of things that happen in these relationships is because there's a lack of respect. Women in general, until they've been around men, like in a wholesome sense, they don't respect anything that we do or who we are because they feel like we have it easy. And I'd be like, who the fuck told y'all that?
Did you watch that Red Pill movie? It's called Red Pill.
No.
Oh, you should watch it. Because everything you said speaks directly to that. And it goes through this, it goes deep, it deep dives into men actually have it harder.
Yeah.
But it touches on the basis of women thinking men have it so much easier and all this shit, and it goes into the why it seemed like guys make more when guys really don't make more. But it deep dives into that, it deep dives into the feminism, it goes into everything you just said.
Yeah.
But women don't see that, and women refuse to watch it. So when women watch this movie, though, they watch it in the standpoint of, oh, this is sexist. You think men should beat women and keep them in the kitchen, and it's like that documentary says nothing like that.
No, but see, rather than address what was said, they'll put up something that you did wrong to try to nullify the argument. And it's like, look, it's either you refuse to understand or you don't understand. Which one is it? Because you could be saying something as plain as day. Like, when I talk to certain people, I dumb down the conversation to as low as possible decimal.
I think I have to start doing that because I've been finding myself like frustrated, and then like I tend to like when I feel it's tension on argument, tension in the argument.
That's right.
I then feel like, all right, let me just let them talk so I can say this clear without them cutting me off. And then when I say it clear, they still don't get it because they're having an emotional response. So then I've been talking to myself just at work, like, I think I'm just about to stop talking to this person, like, because you can't have a legit conversation because you either gonna twist my words or you're not hearing what I'm saying because you having an emotional response to the situation instead of actually hearing what I'm saying so you can have actual full you got your full thought process and concept of what's really going on, but you stuck in this narrow hallway because you want to go off your
But that's
emotions.
game.
Yeah,
Only reason I like, if I know I can't get to a person to at least see what I'm talking about, like if you're talking while I'm talking, it ain't gonna work. Simply because when I ask you a question, you have my undivided attention because I really want to understand where your mind is going. But if somebody has this combative nature about conversation,
yeah,
it's not gonna go any further than that because to be honest with you, I'm doing you a service by even speaking to you about these things because that's me being fair.
right.
And people don't appreciate people being fair. You know, like it's just
But I mean, cause like I don't necessarily like to be in an echo chamber, right? But at the same time, I do want to learn from others as I'm teaching them something. You know what I mean? So like, if we're speaking about a topic and we're just speaking out loud, but if you're not going to use any logic and you're just like emotional, then it's like
you got too
I
high
can't I
standards.
can't talk to
You
you.
got too high standards.
Yeah, but then it's like, who do I talk to bounce ideas off of to see
You
to basically evolve myself at the same time of trying to evolve someone up too. You know what I mean? Like
well,
me and you can
it,
have
it,
conversation all day, but it ends up being an echo chamber because we just about agree on the majority of the most important things.
we'll see, but it's like this. When it comes to enlightenment, in order to be enlightened, you got to sit up here and submit to the thought that I might not be right. We're talking about people that are narcissists and they don't believe that there's any fault in their way of thinking or how they're moving. So it's really difficult to have any type of thing with them because the worst thing you can do is call somebody smart, in my opinion. Because a smart, call somebody smart usually corrupts them. And when you're smart, most of the time people feel like you should see things their way because they're smart. And I'd be like, no, there's more than one way of being intelligent.
Yes.
There's more than one way of doing this. But the fact that you think your way is that's going to be an issue. And I got to get away from you because what's going to happen is if I really got to get into an argument with you, I can break down why what you thinking is stupid. That's never been an
Yeah,
issue.
they do that shit, and the whole thing with twisting the words, like you can say, I don't got an example, but like I say this, and then your rebuttal is, so you mean no? I don't mean nothing. I mean what I'm saying. So don't say, well, that means this about no, that doesn't.
Well,
Quit mixing up
but
the
listen,
two.
but listen. You're not doing no harm to me by twisting my words.
Right.
Because if I'm saying something that's plain as day, and you still got something negative out of that, then that means this is probably our last conversation about anything important.
So that's what I need to start doing.
Because it'll just be a yes or no question coming out of my mouth. Like because at this point,
And when and let me say this.
you're feeding off of this.
Well, let me say this. When I get to that point where I just say, "Yep, yeah, no, sure," I'm not really paying attention. I don't know what the hell you really said.
Well,
I'm just giving you the answer I feel like you want, so you would leave me the fuck alone because I can't have a real conversation with you.
Well, again, we're all searching for real conversations, but the thing is, we pick the worst candidates to have these conversations. And the people that you really want to know something about or know something from, they'll bullshit you.
So,
So
so
people lie with conversation.
yeah.
People can lie with their intentions. People can lie with their hearts because look at all this silly shit that's going on right now with these relationships, man. Like these personal matters don't need to make it into public airwaves. And this happens when you're in a relationship. It happens. It gets real nasty when you're married. You know, like
So, Brad, tell me something.
yeah.
What is one thing? Could you name one thing that would be beneficial to you in a marriage?
In general,
Yeah, in general, what would make you happy in this marriage? What is one thing you will get right away or at the end if it ends or some shit?
I would have what appeared to be a family.
So you get the family.
Well, I mean, I don't take like I said earlier. I don't take any pleasure in anything that's tangible. Because having money would be cool, but if I grow up longing for this wholesome family image, I would just love to know what it's like to have a family. Like, you do covet how these things look from a certain standpoint. So the whole little wife and kids and the picket fence, that type of shit, you want to buy into that to see if that's actually how they say it is, because it looks very enticing. Now I know it could be some game, but I don't want I don't want to live my life not experiencing that, because the worst thing you could do is be a shoulda, woulda, coulda type motherfucker, and I don't want to do that.
So
But
I want the whole white picket fence and shit. I want that too. Don't get me wrong.
my fence would be black though. I don't like white anything. But go ahead.
I agree. I fucking agree. But yeah, I say the same thing. Like I want the family together, but in all reality, I'm doing it for the female.
Mm.
Cause I can have I got the family now.
Well, that's another thing too.
You know what I mean? So like I can like, and I said this in the first time is, I think the value of marriage went down when you got the government in your business.
Of course.
You get pussy way before you get married. You get kids way before you get married. You get everything way before you get married. So at the end of the day, for a guy, this is just a paper bounding us to pay you if you ever decide, hey, I want to go try out a different pickle. That's what it is. It's just a paper saying, all right, now once you get on my nerves and I say I don't like it here no more, you gonna pay me to go fuck another motherfucker.
Essentially, that's what I get out of that. I mean, I know a couple of divorcees, and what they'll tell me is marriage is an experience, and there's pros and cons to it. It's just about who you are and who you're willing to become once you put under that pressure. And from all the older dudes that told me about it, it's like you don't stop being who you naturally are because you married. It's just you have to be mindful of what's happening, because anything small that you take for granted could come back and have these well, not physical, but like real permanent ramifications for your marriage. So you have to be mindful. Now, our biggest challenge on this planet as men, aside from surviving the jungle, is really learning how to love a woman. And that's something that's been around since the beginning of time. But the thing about now is we physically, emotionally, financially, socially are in competition with other women, and it should never be that way. Because a lot of these times you get married, the need to compete is heightened, and it should never be that way. So in order for this thing to work out, you got to be able to listen to me, because if I'm doing something, I'm not doing it for no bullshit. I want to win. Now, a motherfucker will take advantage of the fact that you listen to them, but don't return that, that courtesy.
Right.
And that's a problem. Like, you want this to work. If I'm considering what you're talking about, you can't come in with this single loser bitch mindset.
Loser bitch.
No, because
LB.
no. Let me qualify that. Any motherfucker who wants to be successful, you have to shed your single fucking ways. Because
Females
one thing
females will never.
The only reason I say that is because of this. The motherfucker that loves you and the motherfucker that's going to be with you are not the same fucking guy most of the damn time. So you being scared, you let your traumas dictate how you move in these fucking relationships, that's going to lose. Like, look, if you're an insecure motherfucker and your man is handsome, you know that you're going to have to deal with a woman. Now, you got to press him on how he's supposed to be handling himself out in the streets, but that can't be no one-way street.
Right.
If you ain't got nothing going on about yourself and this man does, you need to find a way to get in line with what the fuck he got going on for you, or find something to do that doesn't conflict with your fucking relationship. You can't sit up here and compare your relationship to other people's relationship, because that's what loser bitches do. What worked for that woman, what worked for your homies, it don't work for you because y'all not the same person. Even though y'all have the same qualities, y'all like the same little shit, it's not the same
Because
fucking
y'all got
thing.
the same genitals, does that mean y'all have the same life?
I mean, but that's just common sense. And the thing is, because common sense isn't common, you hear something like this. If I'm saying this to a female friend of mine or a woman I just meet and I just can, because you can help with small things. This is a small thing, lady. That was just common sense. Why would you think that? You listen to this motherfucker that they think they are in their minds. You be like, no, I don't see any of that.
Right.
I don't understand why you going
Right.
this far. Like
That's that fairy tale shit.
you know what I'm saying? And it's our job as men not to feed to the fucking fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'll say this. If you're a woman that's about to get married, you're exceptional. Because regular bitches don't get married.
Mm.
They do not get married. Like,
well, there is some people who get married, but at the same time, them is the cases that shouldn't get married.
Listen.
They shouldn't get married.
The reason I'm saying this is because this. In order for marriage to happen, because you can wish to be married all you want, lady.
Mm-hmm.
But for this motherfucker to concede it, like, all right, I'll do it. You have to be exceptional in his mind.
But what I'm saying though is we got a lot of fucked up men out here who's they spend most of their time in prison. They had some chick that's supposed to be ride or die, but you know she was out here fucking and sucking everybody. But when he gets out,
but the pussy ain't his.
No, it's never his. But I'm saying he marries her, but she marries him in the sense of I get to get married, but he just marries her to marry her. There's no real core values in why they got married.
I mean, listen, people have their reasons why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they ain't always on the up and up. But it's like this for me. If I can understand why you did what you did, most of the time I can get past the shit. Because more times than not, I got other shit going on that really trumps this domestic situation right here. Like, I care about what happens with the family and this, that, and the other. But I can't let this part right here bleed it over to the professional thing. It just can't go that way.
It's bad business.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, where's your resiliency going at this point? You don't listen. And I sympathize with dudes that love a woman to the point where they don't have nothing left after she's gone. I feel bad for you
put it all on the table.
And it's not saying that you can't be all in with somebody, but if you've been in a relationship where you had to deal with it by yourself, the breakup, and having to come out of the ashes of that and be a reformed person. Because when you get your heart broke, male or female, it's either you turn 100% savage or you a person that just buckles under the pressure of, I'm not who the fuck I thought I was. It's either this or that. There's no in between with that one because that's the only way you can sit up here and deal with heartbreak. But with heartbreak comes an opportunity to be a bigger, better you. A lot of people don't recover from that one. I know dudes that's been fucking bitches for 20 years. He had his heart broke at 15 because she was fucking with an older dude. And he never forgave her for that. Yeah. But the same thing he was over there crying and boo-hooing about, he has no sympathy whatsoever if he's doing that to the next man. Yeah. So this is a cycle that can repeats itself time and time again.
Yeah. And another thing, like, when that shit happens to you, man, it's not even about forgiving her. It's just about getting on with your life. Don't let her ruin your life from that moment.
Well, again.
Because if you're 20-something and that happened at 15, come on, man.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
The first girl you told I love you to, you still with her?
Hell no. Yeah, there's four of them after that.
So, see what I'm saying? So, there's always going to be another one. But that only works for people that are moving. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, your love got to mean something to you. But when you say I love you and mean it to all these different peoples, you leave shards of yourself. Because it was a nice clear mirror. Mm-hmm. But every time you get your heart broke, a piece of that mirror breaks and it goes off with this different person. Now, we're talking to people that probably got one or two things. Like, it was a whole view mirror. Now it's just a corner, a middle piece. Mm-hmm. Everything else is on the floor and it's in somebody else. You really got to figure out what it is with you. Now, we're all broken when it comes to these relationship shit, whether we like to admit it or not. because we still have to reclaim our lives despite thinking we're going to be any and everything to people. A lot of times we are these broken versions of ourselves and we decide to get married. Yeah. I'm not ready to be with nobody completely because I got to figure out who the fuck I am and how I fit to this whole spectrum. But I'm going to get a motherfucking married. I'm going to put these growing finances in. Like, I'm going to invest in something that isn't beneficial to me. So that's what you have to be mindful of when you're talking about, I'm going to get married.
So tell me something. Would you subscribe to preaching for males to blindly get married? Or even just get married? I don't want to say blindly because that make it seem bad. But would you say, hey, you should get married? You should marry, like, let's say a couple's been together, they look cute together, whatever, 8 years. Would you say, hey, man, marry that girl?
Well, one, I need more context on who he is.
So, all right, let's say this. Let's say your son, right? Let's say he's 27, right? 27. Mm-hmm. He's been with this woman since they were 20. He's out of college at this time or trade school, whatever he chose to go into, and he's about to buy a house, and you're like, man, y'all should just get married, man. Y'all ain't got no kids yet. Work on a baby. Y'all should get married. Would you subscribe to that, like that being a good relationship to get married?
I'll tell him this. If I'm looking at my son and I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to ask him how he feels about it first and foremost, because that's always the telltale sign. If you're not speaking about this motherfucker the same way Christians speak about their pastors, don't get married.
But, like, would you subscribe to, like, telling him to look forward to getting married with maybe someone later on down the line? But, yo, son, you should also always consider at some point in life, whether you're 25 or 35, whenever a good age you think is, you should subscribe to or possibly get married or marrying your child's mother.
Well, no, I'll never tell you to marry your child's mother.
But I'm just saying,
just saying.
Usually, your child's mother, is like the love of your life, the first.
But that's an internal thing that I say, because if y'all were in a felon relationship, the baby's not going to make this better, you know. Like, but that's just me saying that. But for him, I'm like, look, I didn't know how serious you are about this girl, and on top of all that, hey man, if you feel like you can't do without her, you need to go all in on this shit, because it's like this. In order for you to be rich in life experience, well, you gotta experience life. Right. Marriage is one of those things that you have to experience.
So you do subscribe to telling your son, hey man, even if he's 15 at this time, hey man, you'll get married one day. You subscribe to telling him that. No, you don't.
Not to the 15-year-old.
Not saying get married as soon as you turn 18. And I'm saying, like, hey, one day in life you'll get married.
Well, see, this is the thing. I know that marriage isn't a one-size-fit-all thing. Yes. Because 15-year-old, 25, 35-year-old. So it's going to be a constant watching what you're doing and then apply knowledge as needed.
So what you're saying is you would monitor him and have your father-son conversations, but if it would come up if you see that woman fit to be like, hey man, what's your thoughts on your girl? You know, y'all been together X, Y, Z. You ever think about marriage? Is that possible? Is that coming up? Like, what you think?
That's just you doing your due diligence as a father, man.
All right, now let's switch the roles. That's why I asked that. Would you preach to your daughter to look for her to get married as she gets older?
I'll tell her this. You can get married, but if you're going to be a deficit in somebody's life, you shouldn't even be in a fucking relationship.
Yeah.
Because you coming in, like, it's always going to be a personal thing, because I will have to...
Right, because you are what you experience.
Oh, yeah,
you 100%. What you experience.
But see, you speak a lot of the shit you go through into existence by the way you moving. I'll tell them, look, y'all gonna sit up here and be a deficit in somebody's life? You need to come in with some shit. Now, essentially, you're gonna be by yourself for a long time, because you're gonna have to find somebody that's on par.
And you gotta find yourself.
Oh yeah, well, that's a constant. That's
a given.
That's a lifelong journey that everybody should go through if you're willing to accept said change. But for them, I'm like, look, I know y'all gonna fuck up. Y'all gonna be people I don't like. Y'all gonna put yourself in a compromised position because you don't want to constantly keep having to go through person after person. But that's life. You gotta figure out what you want. that whole high school sweetheart got married young and stayed married, that ain't gonna be y'all. And I'm gonna tell my son, like, bro, look, before I decided to have kids, I was out here buck wild. You gotta look forward to that. And I tell my daughters, when I was in my 20s, I was a clown.
Yeah.
You gonna be attracted to clown niggas because your mama was attracted to a clown nigga. She let it. Y'all got here. You know what I'm saying?
And also in that age group, majority of them was clowns, and that's what's exciting at that moment. So that's what the females attract.
Well, I mean, listen, I've attracted, like, listen, I can't go too personal about this shit.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I mean,
but that's what happens because we hooked up for recreational purposes.
Right.
So I wasn't looking at them like we gonna be together, we gonna get married and do this shit like that.
Right.
That's the wholesome shit that you want to hear. Because you a kid, you want to think, oh well, mommy and daddy were about to get. No, we weren't.
Right.
Of course we weren't.
So I asked that. I asked that because it was mentioned to me like, well, women is raised to want it, and I'm like, that's a fact, and that's why men don't care for it because we're not raised to look forward to marriage. So then it was proposed to me like, why don't men raise their sons for that? And then I'm like, before we even get there, we have to figure out what is the benefit for the man because we honestly never figured it out, right? And this is someone I'm talking to on a previous episode, and they can't get to that. But so now I've been asking guys because I'm curious to see like, would you subscribe marriage to your son? Like, hey, you need to look forward to marrying whoever that perfect girl is when you get her, when you're at said age and you're well off and you know money's right and all that. When you're at that great stage in your life, you need to subscribe to marriage or whatever.
Well,
because I don't look at it like that. I don't think I should teach my son that, but I also don't teach my daughter that. You know, I look at it as
this you.
I'm doing what makes my woman happy.
But that's social pressure to be that, and it's the thing. At one point in our lives, somebody else's narrative is going to drive a lot of our energy towards a said goal. Like, because a lot of people don't have their own goals in mind for what they're doing in life until later on. You don't have to deal with a motherfucker thinking like they're a failure because they're not out of college by a certain age. Or their friends are having kids and they want to have kids too. Like, you're going to always have to constantly deal with that because a lot of people haven't found what they're about to do here. Like, the fact that we try to assimilate and be a part of things that aren't good for us has driven a lot of people in the wrong damn direction. I'm not going to tell neither one of those kids any of this shit. But if I see that's what you're gesturing to, if I have any wisdom to apply to you, I'm going to just say something to you. For my son, man, I want you to enjoy having fun because when you be with one woman, you got to be with just her.
Yeah.
Now, I need you to use my mistakes as a tool because you're going to be dealing with the same type of pressures. Regardless of what the fuck your mom talking about. Because if we're looking at the body of work that everybody does, you have to understand you don't get to turn your nose up at no damn body. Which is why when when failed relationships or whatever marriages work, you can sit up here and take a positive out of somebody else's misfortune because I'm not going to live long enough to make all these mistakes.
Yeah.
And who's to say that my daughters or my son are going to be a stronger version than me?
Yeah.
Some motherfuckers just might be weak.
So I don't see because I don't do the thing society does where they say you have to get married, all that. Like, I am going to get married, but I am doing it for her. I'm doing it to make her happy. It's not something that's draining to me or nothing. I want to do the big super. I want to do the big super. I want to do a proposal on another continent and back in the motherlands in Africa type shit or Jamaica or something, something cultural for us. Yeah. I would do something like that. I would propose like that. I would give her everything she wants. She want a fucking elephant at the wedding. I would do that. But I'm doing it to make her happy is what I want. I just seen it in a movie. Okay. Oh, that Tom and Jerry movie. I just watched that Tom and Jerry movie. They put an elephant in the wedding. But,
that's some baller shit though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But I would do it like that. I would budget that and do that. But I'm doing it to make her happy. When I say to make her happy, people take that as a bad thing. Like, I'm only doing this because you want me to. That's not how I'm saying it. I'm saying it
Oh,
because I want you to be happy.
That's some baby mama shit right there. You not weak for trying to make somebody happy. Like,
Yeah.
that, like, because I think it becomes a problem when you're the only one trying and the other person can give a fuck less.
Yes.
We said earlier at the beginning of the episode that the person that gives a fuck the least is the one that has the upper hand. But it's like this. What type of motherfucker is you to feel like you need to have the upper hand in every relationship you in?
Yeah.
A person that's a control freak like that is gonna never be happy. Because the moment you start feeling something
and you're always
human,
scheming.
Oh well, I mean, again, you around people, watch and see what their motives are. Because motherfuckers set traps to see what's wrong with you. I'll set traps to see where your head is at. Because if you want some bullshit with me, this is gonna be a real short trip.
So, you got any more takes you want to touch on benefits of a man in marriage?
Hey man, listen. I just to say to the homies, not be cautious because I'm pretty sure if you even consider marriage at this moment is exceptional in your eyes, but you can't be too pussy to have the uncomfortable conversations because you're not the same person when you decide to walk down that aisle and give your life to her and to God and to the state. You need to be able to have all these uncomfortable conversations because a lot of times people have a game plan in their head. Now, if you go about this shit and do your thing, it needs to have some sense of righteousness in it because I'm not giving nobody my last name and not know who the fuck they are. Like, you need to have all these uncomfortable conversations in the beginning because one thing women, I can say for a fact, don't like is being put in a position where they can't choose. You should be in that same situation because I don't like motherfuckers sitting up here like lying to people or admitting things about stories that change the complexity of the decision you're about to make. So have that uncomfortable conversation. Do your due diligence. You need to press family members, friends, co-workers, whatever, because if you got any hint of I shouldn't be doing this, you need to get the fuck on, man, because I don't understand why people take chances with their life. Like, I fucked up having babies with motherfuckers that don't like me. You understand? It's your life, nigga. You have to be real mindful of what you do because ain't none of this shit finna be perfect. So this is something you have a choice in when it comes to marriage. Like you can renege if you don't feel this is the thing to do. That's all I gotta say about that shit, bro.
And y'all know I done had several takes on this, probably about my fourth take on recording on this. So this has been dope. There are people to educate, and I let you black people stay positive.
Bye.
Hit the bye.
Bye. Bye.